Here I wanted to talk about the apportionment of revenues among political entities. In legislation that creates a new type of special district, which is basically a form of local government in the state of California, there's estimated to be in excess of 2,000 of these special districts throughout the state. Some of them receive tax revenues, and Article 13, Section 29 of the California Constitution needs to be taken into account. Section 29 was amended by the voters in Prop 11 in 1998. And Section 29A grants authority to the legislature to authorize counties, and cities to enter into contracts to apportion between them the revenue derived from any sales or use tax imposed by them that's collected for them by the state. And before that contract becomes operative, the contract must be authorized by a majority of those voting on this question in every jurisdiction that'll be a part of that at either a general or a primary election. Then Section 29B provides that despite the prior authorization, that counties, cities, and cities may enter into contracts to apportion between them the revenue derived from any sales or use tax pursuant to the Bradley-Burns Uniform Local Sales and Use Tax Law or any of its successor provisions that's collected for them by the state of California, so long as the ordinance or resolution proposing each contract is approved by a 2/3 vote of the governing body of each jurisdiction that is a party to that contract. But is a special district a city, county, or city and county for purposes of allocating tax revenues contained in or pursuant to Article 13, Section 29? And the answer is no. And the legislature seeks to make this point in legislation by including a provision in bills that create special districts that might read along the lines of the following example from a 2022 California legislative session bill. In this bill, it says, the legislature finds and declares that the allocation of revenues derived from a sales and use tax or a transaction and use tax to a climate resilience district pursuant to Division 2 of Title 6 of the Government Code as added by this act is not subject to Section 29 of Article 13 of the California Constitution because a district is not a city, county, or city and county within the meaning of that provision, but is rather a separate political entity as described in Subdivision C of Section 62303 of the Government Code as added by this act. So as a result of this legislative finding and declaration, the legislature believes that a special district that would be created by this bill, in which the finding and declaration statement is contained, would actually not be implicated by Section 29. Now, why does the legislature use a finding and declaration? That's one approach, or they could codify a section in law.